have procured whatever you're supposed to, you find that the quantity is in order, but the specifications are wrong. It means that another risk still exists. So once you are declared out of motion, say, I think the intermediate is around the cross-check demand specifications. This time around, we are able to complete chapters. Let us cross-check the specifications. Once we do that, it means that one has also been eliminated. That risk will no longer be there. So by doing that, those risks, at least we can say we are managing them or we have managed them. Another thing that you can do as one way of managing this kind of risk is reduction. Now, the reduction of what? Control measures are implemented to reduce the impact or the likelihood of the risk occurring. So, control measures have to be put in place, or they must always be put in place. So, one way of managing this one is just to put control measures in place that will reduce the impact of the risk occurring or the likelihood of the risk occurring. So, elimination and reduction almost the same. Those are some of the ways through which you can manage that kind of risk associated with procurement. Another way through which you can manage this kind of a problem or a risk is transfer. Now, what do you transfer? In a procurement, there are always what we call financial transactions that are always involved. And if those financial transactions are not handled properly, the chances are you're going to run into a risk of probably overpayment on what you are trying to procure. So, if there can be a way in which when you're doing a procurement, there are some entities on top of, beside the PE or the procurement entity, there are some entities that are responsible for handling the payment part of it, other than the procurement entity on its own. That one can reduce the impact. Why? Because the documents that are involved in procurement will be passed on to more than 2 entities for verification. It means when the payment is being released, at least there is a surety, or you people, you are sure of what you are paying for. Instead of just having one entity doing the procurement and doing the payment on its own. So, by transferring the responsibility to probably a different entity altogether, for the sake of transparency and accountability, the risk is always reducing. Now, when you are managing this kind of a risk in an organization, just as I think kind of indicated some time back, there is what we call risk management framework. So when we say risk management framework, these are kind of the guidelines that you're going to follow, the steps that you're going to follow in that kind of regard. So in international sourcing or international procurement, for you to manage the risks, you need to work within that framework. So when you say within that framework, that there are always guidelines, and you need guideline, it means there are steps. You are guided from this point to the other point, then the other, then finally you're done. So, the steps that are involved or that are contained in this framework, we have 5 major steps in risk management framework. The first step is to establishing objectives. The first step in this framework is establishing objectives. Another step is identify risks and controls, or in other words, we call it risk identification. So we say identify risks and controls the risk. After identifying the risks, what did we say is another thing? Assess risks and controls. You have identified the risk that is there, then you have assessed the risk. What are you assessing? You are assessing to see or to understand the gravity of it, or how big that risk is, and whether it's going to have a significant impact or not. The other step in this framework is evaluation of the risk. Evaluation of the risk. Now, besides evaluation, there is what we call monitoring. There is monitoring and, of course, report. Monitoring and report. Okay, now, monitoring and report. It means you have put a strategy in place to mitigate the risks that are there, or to manage the risks that are there. Now, those measures that you have put in place, they need to be monitored whether they are really effective or not. So, once they have been monitored and it has been discovered that no, these measures are effective to this extent, or maybe they are not effective to a certain extent, what next? A report is written. Definitely, this report is written and probably shared amongst those that matter most, especially the organizational leadership. So, if the report is recommended, a report is basically at the end of it always have what we call recommendations. There are always 2 parts of the report most of the times. The findings upon monitoring. After monitoring, then there are findings. Whatever you have observed, observations. Those are the things that are always written in the report. After that, there are recommendations at the end of it. So recommendations, in other words, are always the suggested actions to be taken. So, we have observed the measures that we put in place, of course, are working to a certain extent, but they have weaknesses in this A, B, C, D, of which we suggested that when at this area where we have weaknesses, if we can rework it in also A, B, C, D. So that report is shared amongst those people that matter the most. Okay. Then I'm saying, once the report has been written and it is shared among those people that matter most, that's the managers and the executives, what is the point or what is the reason for communicating or sending this report to all these people that matter most? One is for the organization to improve. The reason why the report is shared amongst whoever matters there, the managers and the executives, is for the organization to improve its risk management interventions, so that at least those gaps that have been identified through monitoring should be filled, or those gaps should be always filled. Now, when we are looking at the framework, after we said establish objectives in step number 1, step number 2 they say identify risks. So, what is risk identification? Now here, we are told that when you say risk identification, it means identifying an organization's exposure and uncertainty. An organization's exposure to uncertainty. Kapena kuna kuti what if organization yathu ndingozi yanji imene tingati kukumana nayo imene that we are likely going to probably expose ourselves to. That is risk identification. Kungochisikira chinthu chimene chikuoneka kuti kukumana nacho. And again, this risk identification is aimed at making structural adjustments to how you do your operations in order to avoid those uncertainties. Structural adjustments, that is, kusinga pina bibina kwa mene mwagiza chito sana kwa marwana chito kachi. So it is matuwa nkukapo kangaji mwita identify the problem that is there. If you have identified the risk that is there, then you can easily adjust it. But without understanding, without identifying the problem that is there, what is there to adjust? It's like a student is not passing, maybe is not performing well right, whether in exams or whichever assessment is there. If that student doesn't understand where exactly the problem lies, what is he or she going to improve? He is not going to improve anything. So first you identify the problem that is there. So similarly to risk identification, it is aimed at helping that organization to make structural adjustments. So, in this risk identification, we find that there can be strategic risks that can be, those risks are coming as a result of strategic decisions that are being taken by the organization. For example, if the organization is not able to respond to the market trends, the market is behaving differently, but the organization is not able to respond to whatever is happening in the market. As a result, the decisions that the organization is going to make are going to be offside. They are not going to be those that are responsible or are supposed to respond to the trends on the market. So, what is happening in that case, we will say, is a risky but it's caused by those at the apex or those at the top. They are totally deliberately able to respond to whatever it is happening there. So, your failure to respond to whatever is happening there can lead into a risk. Why? Because whatever you've been doing, this is obvious and to manage. Command who is committing this sin here or this crime is executive management or the senior management. So such kind of sins or crimes committed by those ones, they are part of what we call strategic risks. At times, there can be a situation where if an organization is doing good, it becomes complacent. Complacent, that is, usitengaji always taking things for granted. So it can happen that your organization is selling a particular item or brand or a service, and customers are responding positively and you're making money. At the end of the day, you take that one for granted. People face material. You fail to keep track of the changing trends on the market. Whether the people have changed their taste or their preferences in regards to your own, you are not even observing that one. Why? Because you might have it's when you end up losing some of the stakeholders that you are working together with or the customers. Is a risk, and you are likely going to lose the market share. Why are you losing the market share? Who's committing the crime here? Those responsible for decision making. Therefore, if the risk is coming from those responsible for decision making, we call that risk a strategic risk. So, compliance arising from past success can be misleading business owners, organizational leaders to take things for granted. There can be some recommendations based on reporting after monitoring team and member report. Now that report recommendations. Those recommendations, they always say, I think about just a model. So, failure to implement those changes by an organization can lead to more risks or more disasters. Now, who is supposed to implement or affect those changes as recommended by the report? It is the leaders. So, if the leaders are failing to manage those major changes or to accommodate, to affect those major changes, the risks that follow, they will fall upon those leaders. Now, such kind of risks are two part of strategic risks. There can be a situation where the industry that we are in is embracing new technologies to accelerate whatever they do. To the point that our competitors elsewhere have embraced that kind of technology. But our failure to adopt that kind of technologies and incorporate them into our system, that one is a risk and is part of strategic risk. So here we are trying to identify those risks. Risk meaning is it strategic risk or what? Here we see that such kind of risks are strategic risks. Because it is upon those decision makers to figure out and say, and that's what technology, why can we also embrace this technology? There can be a situation where your organization has found itself in some scandal, some controversy, for example. That controversy is likely going to tarnish the image of your brand or your organization. Now, the risk that comes with that, the risk that associated with damage, the damage to your name, your reputation, it is called reputational risk. So, a reputational risk is a risk that can still be managed, but it is upon those at the top to manage that one. Of course, they give instructions on how we can handle that one. There was a situation some years back, 2-3 years, not 4 years back, involving the just that the Rengola, it is the sole supply of water in this city. Had it been that there were 2, 3, or 4 more companies that are responsible for supplying water, trust me, Rengola would have been picked up of business by now. Because immediately in right? Komali, though you can come to Dimosi, Mama Company, and Gabo, they were actually the church. What were they supposed to do? What they were supposed to do was to make sure that they clear that mess through public relations or maybe handling the situation when it comes to publicity, to the point that they polish up their image. At times, you make public pronouncements, press releases, and so on and so forth, just to clarify your position. Doing that is part of managing that reputation of risk. I will remember, Sylvester, are you here? Okay, we are assuming that this organization here, one of the managers was involved in safety. Yes, safety. So, company but people are saying this because one of the managers was going to submanage. But that manager is one of the employees. So, reputation here, deputy is at risk. VDM is at risk. Company Abuba, on the company Abuba. So, we are assuming that Mr. Sylvester here, you are the chief executive officer of this company. In order for your reputation to remain positive, what are some of the things you think you might do in that regard? Now, mind you, you have competitors all over. The competitors, those are some organizations that are offering the same services or the same products or similar products. So it means you are fall. If you fall, those people will be happy. What are you going to do? kutangazi kuchonga tangazi kutangaza kama machozi anaweza kuwaje. The bearers are there to protect the image or the reputation of an organization, right? Any organization at times can find itself on the wrong side of things how they are done. Organization uses the wrong entity, right? It can either be as an organization as it is, or else through one individual in that organization can do something that can spoil the reputation of that organization. So in that case, yes, of course, you can remove them, you can displease them, you can do whatever you can. But now, what next? Publicity. So that's the job of this. Yeah. So publicity has to be made. Of course, if you want to value your customers without using the curriculum, and try as much as possible to live by integrity and so on and so forth. However, there was an incident. That incident of course, Zina is not because of family. I don't know as the details. Once the point is, some of those employees have been interdicted or have been removed and were investigating, and once they are found guilty, the law will take its course, and so on and so forth, right? But so far, we instruct us, and we are committed to do this, and we appreciate your feedback. Right? So that you are only trying to restore the confidence of those people that you work with. You are only trying to restore the confidence of your customers, okay? So that you should not lose them. So that's one way of managing a reputation risking. And the public relations. Public relations helps to maintain the good image of your organization. However, if a situation has happened like this one, and the top management has failed to handle it in this way, it means the reputation of that organization will remain negative maybe for some time. So if it remains negative for some time, what does that mean when it comes to your relations with customers? Definitely you don't lose customers. So who has the first action to take action here? It is the executive. So a reputation risk can also be considered to be part of strategic risk. Why? Because the decision to say, hey guys, let us release a press release, or let us talk to the media and everybody, so as we clarify our part, that decision comes from the top. So if the top doesn't bring that decision, it means you are risking the image of your organization, and that risk is reputational risky. Now, there is another risk that is also strategic. That is political or general economic risk. This one is also a kind of strategic risk. And it is those at the top who are responsible for handling of these ones. So, risk identification moja kuzambili kama hizo zetu maswala TV voucher purchase framework budget. Now, for framework element tunaona risk identification, then for risk assessment. So, this risk assessment involves risk estimation. Now, estimation can be qualitative or quantitative. Estimation of a risk. You can estimate a risk qualitatively or quantitatively. It means it looks at the probability of the occurrence and of course the possible consequences. That is the risk estimation. It is now looking at the probability of occurring. What are the chances that this problem can still happen? Of course, there are high chances. You estimate it like that. There are high chances this thing can happen. Now, should this thing happen, what are the possible consequences? That's the second question. That is still part of risk assessment. Now, after doing this analysis or this assessment, what follows next is what we call risk evaluation. What follows is what we call risk evaluation. So, with risk evaluation, now you start thinking of, after assessing this risk, and you have come to realize that there are high probabilities that this thing can happen, and the consequences are likely going to be so much, or are likely going to be very low. What do we do now in this case during the evaluation? Now, you start making decisions that will lead to interventions against the said risk. That is the evaluation now. You are evaluating something. Takiwa gazeti tatu unaona uchifuji chikuza ruchi. Umepatia siku ndio ukiambi. But nevertheless, let's take a decision. Those decisions will lead into interventions to manage those risks. So, when you are analyzing a risk, there are a number of techniques that can be used to analyze that risk. What are some of those techniques? One is what we call brainstorming. Brainstorming is one technique that can be used to analyze a risk. Apart from brainstorming, there is questionnaires. Questionnaires can also be used to analyze a risk. We have scenario analysis. Scenario analysis as another way through which you can assess a risk. Of course, we have workshops like risk assessment workshops, auditing and inspection. Yeah, I would say risk assessment workshops, auditing and inspection can also be considered as another technique. Then you have market surveys. Market surveys, that's another technique. We have SWOT analysis. SWOT. manage to assess and evaluate what we call a risk. So now we have what we call risk monitoring. Risk monitoring. So risk monitoring is usually carried out by focusing upon KPIs. Monitoring is basically done through focusing the KPIs. KPIs, those are key performance indicators. So these KPIs are used to provide what we can call red flags. The KPIs are used to provide red flags. When you say red flags, that's a kind of warning, right? So the KPIs, so by observing the KPIs, you'll be able to tell whether the risk is really occurring or is going to occur or maybe it may not occur. Because you have those KPIs in place. So how many processes should be in place to ensure that formal follow-up actions and recommendations by the board are implemented? So, an effective risk management requires a reporting and a review structure. It requires a reporting and a review structure to ensure that the risks are effectively identified and assessed, and that the appropriate controls and responses are in place. So, risk management, it is an ongoing process. Why is it that risk management is an ongoing process? It is an ongoing process because the risks keep changing and new risks keep occurring, and existing risks may change in nature as a result of mitigation or other effects. Risk management is an ongoing process. Simajika kamoja. Mwanzo mtu kuweza vaccine wa matenda inani, and after that vaccine you can say guys, now we are victorious. Tabojeza matenda ya batata sabazana now. Why? Because we have this academic vaccine. But after some time you find that matenda is not so you don't have to be relaxed. So when it comes to risk management, now anywhere some vaccine today it's kind of risk management. It means it has to be ongoing and you should always be on the alert, because you may defeat this kind of matenda, but another disease will come tomorrow. So if you are relaxing, this one will take you off guard. Then apart from new diseases coming in, even those old diseases can always change how they come to you due to many reasons, mutation and everything. So similarly, mitigating risks or dealing with risks. A risk can be there today, tomorrow it will also be there but in a different form, and so on and so forth. So the issue or the fight against these risks is always a continued fight that should always be there. Are you ready with the presentations? Not ready. But we are meeting in the next. What I was saying is. Yeah, we're meeting what I was saying. So I'm sure by then you'll be ready. But if you are not ready, if you feel like we cannot discuss this today, you write it as an assignment and submit. You wait to know. But what I gave you here was the simplest way of dealing with this issue. Instead of you writing, just present here, we discuss, we time. At the end of the day, I just have to some answer. Okay? So this your observation was just right. You're supposed to send this one. Let's go back to your observation. So we are meeting in this room, right? Yeah? In 5? 4? In 4? Alright, so okay, now the thing is, you can secure that one. Our way of what you already submitted, as a representative discussing, then she does. if you wait for it, definitely you know what you were doing. My source says, you went up to many people, my neighbor said, if my neighbor will be the white line, I'm a hope. You must do what you want, even about within 10 to 10 to that's not it, so was not it. So, you are in a way, interdependent, okay? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. There is no money, we are missing. Is there one number for it? Alright.
Thank you.